Naume! And the crowd goes wild. Yay! Gustav, you can clap better than that. I'm expecting you, Naume.
Yeah.
All right, Naume, welcome to Cafe Talk.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
I'm excited. I had a quick chat with you before we came into studio. And guys, this is her first radio interview, and I get to do it. I'm so excited. Thank you for granting us this opportunity. There's a young lady named Gail who got in touch with me on social media in my DM. And I always get like these messages because I am big on women empowerment, big on, just women doing things. So she's like, hi, Becky, there's this lady who just wrote a book and she's looking for platforms to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you just, read through, see her page? And I don't want to, like, I rolled my eyes. I was like, oh, another one, right? Because there were some that would come and they didn't have depth. There wasn't like, that. And I was like, no, I'll wait for this one to grow. Let's see, another one. But then when I saw your page, I was like, this woman is onto something. And also the fact that some of the posts that you actually had, there were some that I saved. I'm going to ask you about them.
Okay.
Where you almost sounded like you were speaking from a point of experience. Like, listen here, I'm not just reading from a book and then letting you know. I'm telling you from a point of experience. How much of the stuff that you say on Instagram or on your wholeness page is from experience?
It's actually very little bit.
What?
One of my areas of gifting is that I'm a teacher of the word. So it's mostly focusing on teaching life skills, life challenges,
right,
and application of the word through that, which in a way would equip people with tools. So basically that's where it's coming from. Mostly it's actually coming from that place.
From that place. So what is it? What's the trick there? How do you make it sound like, hey, I've been there, done that, I know? Because I was like, yes, Naume, tell them. Yes, that's it, yeah.
So basically the things that I post, I just don't post, Becky. I pray about it as well. I received that message. So for example, when I was writing about how to manage your emotions, I'm like, I actually say, Lord, what am I going to talk about next? And that would come in my spirit. And then the teachings actually start coming in a way. I'm also, as I indicated, I'm also into counseling as well. I'm in training.
Yeah.
So it's also coming from that place where you also interact and you talk to many different people, where you're also given access to understand situations a little bit more than the average person. So that is also what has equipped me for I to be able to talk about all these issues.
All right. So we want to get into your life a little bit because thank you for explaining that bit. You teach really well.
Thank you.
You teach really well. And I was so happy that Gail reached out that day. So thank you, Gail, for reaching out.
She's actually listening.
And for introducing me to Naume. Big things are going to come out from this. So we want to get into the profile. So normally people will start off with their professional titles, that this is who I am. And here you are, you're a pharmacist, but it's ukoko. At the end, you were like, I'm a wife.
I'm a wife. Those are the first primary roles for me. I also, that's the level I connect with people.
Okay.
I connect with you as another woman. I connect with you as a sister. I connect with you as another mother, and maybe as a wife if you're married as well. So that's basically my primary role in everything I do. Work comes, secondary. My primary role, if my child needs me, Becky, my child needs me, that's primary. I also have to, ensure that I'm there for my children as a mom, and also serving my role as a wife in my marriage as well. So that for me comes top, and that comes, right at the top. I always question myself, at the end, when we are by the line and God is asking us, what did you do? And the things that you ask are the core things, my role, me as a person, and we go into the family setup, me as a mom, me as a wife. And then, yes, the vocation would come in, but that's how I also want to interact with people. I'm just another woman like you.
All right,
I'm just another sister like
so
you.
what's your take on the notion of women getting married is an achievement? Wife.
Marriage is a blessing.
Right.
It is a blessing. It is a blessing.
He's anticipating to
and
get
I am
married
grateful
soon.
to be married. I am grateful to be in a marriage setup.
Right.
But you know, I also do not want any woman who is out of marriage to feel that they're any less of a woman. No.
Come on.
It is a blessing. A woman, you're either married or unmarried. But all of us have different roles to fulfill in those different states that you're in. But I'm grateful,
right
yes, that I'm actually married, and I'm married to a good man as well.
Oh, I like that. Yes. I think
They still exist.
They still exist.
exist.
They do. Good men still exist. I'm somehow in the middle with the whole wife. Being married is an achievement thing because I was married before, got divorced, then I lived a single life, right? And then I got married again. So I know
different transitions.
I know
phases,
the different transitions and the phases, and exactly like what you said, just because you're not married doesn't make you less of a woman. There are some married women who are saying, "Oh God," and then there are some single who are saying, "Oh God."
That's true,
right? So it's more of what you do with the experience, and it's more of what you do with the position that you have that makes you so say it loud and proud, I'm a wife.
Yes,
and then others, I'm a wife. Depending on what you do with it.
That's true.
Exactly. So you became a pharmacist in which year, and what made you get into that?
So initially, you know, at the end of initially what I actually wanted was medicine.
Doctor.
Yes, that's what initially, that's what I wanted. You know, as I was doing my upper six, I was doing sciences at Regai, which is down across the road. And I recall my teacher saying, all of you, I can see all of you, I know you all want to do MBCHB, but you know, very few, maybe just one or two in this class. But at the end, when we were doing the application, I did pass very well. My dad actually went with my application letter to the university. And he was saying, he was advised by someone, why don't your daughter apply for pharmacy? It's actually much better. I'm not saying anything, you know, negative about medicine, but for me in that particular time, that's how it went about. And my dad put him through for pharmacy. But I'm very glad that he did that. I nearly cried on the day that he came back was it the letter? I can't recall exactly what he came with. And he said, these are the options. This is something which was different from what I put. And he said, I did the best that I could when I was at the university. But I'm like, why? I actually cried. But now, you know, retrospectively, as I look at it, I look at even like the working style of pharmacy. It enables me to fulfill, you know, my roles as a mom, as a wife, so much well. I don't do so well at night, you know. I sleep. I'm thinking if I was, you know, going to be a doctor and I'm needed for night calls, how was I going to do that? My husband is a medical doctor, and I see the type of work that he does. I can't manage. I actually can't. So that's how I ended up doing pharmacy. I enjoy it so much. So now I'm doing administrative pharmacy. I've moved out of retail, retail space.
Yes. What does administrative pharmacy include?
Okay. So basically now I'm working at a health insurance. So you're looking at all the policies that would govern pharmacy, for example, what members will be having on their medicine benefit, the medicine benefits that they have, the kind of rules that will be there that will be applied, the type of even the level of reimbursement for all the particular different medicines, classifying them and everything. So it's the administrative part about pharmacy which I'm doing, which I enjoy so much.
And it gives you time to do other stuff.
It does so much.
All right, so in your breakdown, you said you wanted to be a medical doctor, and then the path kind of like, you know,
it changed.
And then when you saw what it was like, you took like a sigh of relief, like, thank God I didn't go that route.
I wasn't going to manage. Yes.
Right. How many times has that happened in your life where you wanted something? And you know how women just desire certain things, and then it doesn't happen the way that you wanted to.
I think it's so many times. And I would give the example that I gave. But now when I look at things, I think also I've grown as a person. So if something doesn't work out now, it's no longer, oh my, and I'm crying all tears, but it's like, I know God is directing me to another place. I know it will work out all for my good. So even if any change happens, or, you know, another direction, something sets a different course from what I'm anticipating or expecting, I'm usually grounded. I'm like, you know what, He started. He's in
But you
control.
do get disappointed.
I do.
You will
I
say
feel
those
all the
statements.
emotions.
Yeah,
I get
you.
angry.
Okay,
I
was
actually
about
get
to
angry.
Say, are you human?
I get angry. I get hurt. I'm a very emotional person, for the record. I get hurt. I cry. You know, ask my husband. You share all these things. That woman. That woman. Yes.
Yeah.
I do experience all those emotions. But one thing that has helped me is knowing how to manage. It's okay to feel emotions. It's healthy. It shows that I'm a human. It's okay to be angry. There's nothing wrong in the emotion of anger, being hurt. But maybe what you do afterwards with it, it shows that I'm human.
Yeah.
I'm a person. I feel it has a place within my life. But what I do with those emotions is what will determine whether it's good or bad. But getting angry, you know, getting hurt or grieving over something, it's all part of being a human. And it's beautiful.
I like it. I like it. We are speaking to Naume Ndoro Kusotera, who is our She Diaries guest. Naume is a qualified pharmacist, but she says I always start with mother, wife, because those are the things that I'm, most proud of. They define who I am. That's how I relate with people. You also mentioned that you are currently in a counseling course. How's that going? And why did you do it?
So actually the issue of teaching started when I would write small little snippets, and whenever I would write, people
What were you writing for? Were you writing for yourself, like journaling?
So I think let me start from the beginning. So initially it was about myself. It was starting from my own Facebook page. Something is, but I would feel like a burden within me that I need to write. So let me take you back. From as young, I think as I was about 9-10 years, my father introduced me to the library. So that actually was the start for
What was your favorite book?
Like
the one book that you like, this one I will never forget.
There are so many. There is no one that I can actually say in my childhood this. There were so many.
Yeah.
So initially started off from the city of Rari Library. That's by close to Stodderhall.
Yes.
And he gifted me with a pen, a notebook, and a dictionary. So when I would read any new word that I would find which I didn't know, I had to write it down. I had to, recall it and understand what that word means. That actually was my beginning. Then I don't think even my father knew this is actually what we're doing. But I also think that as a parent, there was a nudge in him to say, continue doing this for this child, because that was only me that he did that for, not for my other siblings.
Oh, wow.
That was him grooming me as a child. So, that's when it started. So I would find that whenever I would write or share something, I would get so many responses, and I express myself much more clearly when I'm writing. I'm like a fish in water. I feel like
give me a pen,
give me a pen,
notebook.
a quiet space, and I can actually get to write. So the area that I was mostly passionate about, which I would see were like, there's so many challenges, especially mental health, that are around. But are there solutions for it? And some would even come from my own personal experiences, managing emotions, for example. I would come back, as a young wife, there's so many things happening around you. You're coming from work. I'm a professional as well. You get home, there are kids, and there's also your husband. But the time you get even to bed, you were happy at some space, you were hurt, you were angry. How do I manage all those things? And sometimes I would find that, even my husband also had his own fair share of his day. He also was not in a position to be able to accommodate me. But I would be like, so how do I find a solution to it? Because I would feel so heavy, I would feel so burdened. And that's when I started, walking that journey, and ended up going for the counseling course. Like, let me go and find, maybe I can also find a solution. But also, whenever I would write, people would come to me. I'm struggling with this, can you help me? So people would also come to me, not me reaching out to them. So because of that, I also needed to be equipped who choose to be able to help people also effectively as well.
Absolutely.
So that's how counseling also came about, my own personal space, and also the responses that I would also see from people when I would write. And that is what also led ultimately to me writing the book, and also the work on social media that is there, which is Wholeness with Naume.
Wow, Naume, the way you just broke that down, because I write, but I do it as journaling. That's my, if anyone gets a hold of my journals, Lord have
That's very therapeutic, Becky. Very therapeutic.
I'm just like, Lord have mercy, my whole life in those, I think I've got like 5 journals. 3 of them are full, like back to back, literally. Then I bounce between 2. There's one journal where I write good memories only.
That's good.
Then another journal where I write yes, where I write those things.
Yes.
And I'm just like, those are moments of vulnerability that no one else can understand.
That's true.
Just like what you said, you get home and your husband has gone through his own day. He really wants to be there for you, but he can't. Because he's also trying to empty out whatever stresses he accumulated throughout the day. And then you are like, hey, I learned this skill as a child. Let me do it.
Let me do it.
And we are going to talk about it. You did write a book. But before we get to the book, the whole mental health misconceptions, it's now a big thing.
It is.
It's now a big thing. I know in the first world countries, if your mental state is not in right standing, they really like make sure you are okay. They give you time off from work, and get you counseling. They get you tablets, even antidepressants, and Africa hasn't really. Okay, they've grasped it.
We're getting
there. But not like gripped.
That's true.
The whole concept of it's important to take care of your mental health.
That's true. I would like to comment on that, and I think also maybe trying to explain the reason why it also took us maybe a little bit late.
Okay.
This is just my own personal opinion, I look at the setup that we had from our forefathers, and I want to take a learning leaf from them, They would sit in communities. Kana kuri kumosha, it would be pana mai guru, pana bamkuru, pana mai nini, ndimama, ndibaba. The whole family was together in one setup. What it enabled was a community. People would share within that community. People would talk. So because we actually had structures that were in place back then, that were quite intact, we were okay. We didn't realize that there were mental health issues because the solution was there within the setup that we had, but we did not realize it, and maybe we did not appreciate it fully. But that's at the center. We are humans, and as humans we thrive when we are in a community. And we were in a community. Industrialization came, there was rural to urban migration, and now there are also many notions that I can do life by my own. I don't need people. So you find people are in isolation, if that's the word I can use. People many times they're living alone, and they've broken from that structure. Even if you go even to the Bible, it supports that structure of relationships, relating to one another, and we relate in a community. So it's coming from different places, and we are here now. We lost that. Some part of it we've lost. Like if you look at how your fathers used to meet, when you were growing up big, it's different from how we're doing it now. Now we can just go on social media and say, hi, I'm checking up on you. If one actually gets to remember that you're still there, But many times everyone is just minding their own lives, and they're running, their own lives. But there is a space within us that requires that community setup. I grew up in Bari. There was that community, it's something that I'm really quite proud of. In the morning when you would wake up, you would have to greet all the mothers that you'd meet. Mangwanani, Marara say, as you sweep the dust. Yes, I didn't see this person. Are they okay? Someone would actually come and check up on you. That's the community setup, which is quite important. We had that. Some aspects of us still have it, but in the most now, when I look at myself, it has been lost in a way. And I feel that, it's also did lead us to being in the state that we are in now. And I think we'll get there. There are many mental health initiatives that are there, even support structures that are on board. It wasn't like that many years ago because of also these support structures that were there. But now there's a great need. COVID did also expose a lot of these. And I think we're developing and working towards that. But the best is those, those sometimes free ones within the community coming back together in a community setup, in a family, working through the dynamics of relationships. But within that, there is so much structure, there's so much support rather that you get when you're within that particular community.
Oh, I love that, Naomi. Talking about communities, we've got one, it's called the Pulses, and they are tuned in right now. Pulses, you can send through your questions, your comments, or your contributions. So normally with our interviews, we start from, so tell us about your childhood, tell us about your, but I knew you were going to bring that out during the conversation. But there was one pulse I was like, oh, nasimatangira padungu kusviku grade 1 zvabva zvazobuda kuti when I was 9 and when I was 10, and a lot of our childhood activities shape who we then become later in life. You studied, pharmaceuticals, but that writing ability or the love of writing was instilled in you at a young age. and you later on just branched out from it, but still doing what you studied. To the parents who are listening, who've got children, who've got different aspirations and desires of what they want to become when they grow up. My daughter, for the longest time, we thought she was going to be a lawyer because she can defend herself. My goodness, that child can talk.
That can be difficult as a parent.
And you know, drawing that line, she's not being rude. Calm down. Right? And then grade 5, she just flipped on us and she's like, I'm going to be an orthodontist.
That's a good profession.
And we were like, where did you even learn that word? You know, like, how do you even know about that? And then she's so strong on it. She's writing grade 7 now, and she's so headstrong that this is what I want. But she also likes art, right? As a parent, how am I directing her? What am I saying to her? Because what if the art then supersedes the orthopedic journey that she wants? Yes, orthodontistry journey that she wants to take. Am I going to watch her? Well, because you know, Africans, I still have that. You know, I'm a millennium, so I was raised different. You're either a doctor, a nurse, an engineer, an accountant, a lawyer, or a teacher. You know, all right, other professions, but engineer. You know, and then this is me watching my daughter who's saying, I want to be this, and then what if this other side then comes out and it's headstrong?
As a comment to that, I would say allow her to be. Your role as a parent is to guide, to train, to teach, and to steward. And I think you're doing that well.
Train, teach, steward.
Right? Yes, steward.
Okay.
So her coming into a place where she can say, I want to do this. You know, there's so much clarity in her words. It came from the teaching that you're giving her, and the opportunities that you also presented to her for her to be able to express herself without fear of being judged, without fear of disappointing mom. So that's a plus for you there, Becky. If I could just comment, that's a plus for
Clap
you.
hands for me, Gustav. Clap hands for everyone. Yeah, clap hands for me, Gustav.
Only turning on the mic when I'm clapping.
The mic has been on.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, for real.
Hi guys. Hi guys.
So I actually want to comment on how my parents did that. I know this is different from all the parents, but it comes from a humble setup, and many people can actually relate to it, because many times it didn't look like they were doing something big, but they actually were doing all the big stuff when I look at it retrospectively. So I did talk about my father. There was a time when my parents rather wanted to take me for computers. Do you know what my dad would do? We didn't have a car, so we would get a combi, and you would sit outside waiting for me for the whole lesson for 3 hours. Oh my gosh, then I was so embarrassed, like, my dad is the only one that's sitting outside waiting for me. That was so much support and love. I think about it now as a parent, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this man. My mom gave me a lot of support in my academics and everything around the house, you know. It started from, you know, even if there was a dress that was torn, you would see her sewing that dress, even if it's for me or any one of my siblings. I learned home skills from my mom. When I was going to school, my mom understood the pressure that I had from school. She would actually say, don't do this housework, I'll do it. I want you to focus on your schoolwork. So it sounded and it seemed like it was small, but I saw it from how my parents did it. They supported me to the level that they knew and that they could. So for my dad, it was taking a combi, taking me to where I was supposed to go. That's what it looked like then, you know. For my mom, it was saying, I will do the housework. Don't focus on this, but focus on your academics. I did very well in my education. You know, it came from such a strong foundation from my parents. When we would eat together. Sometimes if it was cold, we'd light a firewood. So many times that was when, you know, there was shortage of electricity. So sometimes we'd cook outside by the fire. Afterwards, we'd actually get to sit there and we'd talk. You know, this was a community. This was relating to each other. My parents would get to know how we kids are doing, would get to connect with them. It seemed like it was small at that time, but now when I look at it, that was actually quite big. So even as a parent, you know, what may seem like it's small, like you're going to buy fresh vegetables from Musika and you're coming to sell to support your child with tuition and everything, that's actually it. I don't believe that God would ask of you the things that you don't already have. The things that you have are the things that your child needs from you. Your child doesn't need a super parent. What you have That's saying, no, take time to read. That's actually it. That's showing interest in your child. Oh, you like this type of craft. It could be, you know, putting beads or making some necklaces, just supporting them. You know, I want you to focus, maybe for that parent, if academics is important, I want you to focus on school, but I also support you doing this.
Oh,
So
okay.
that support can look like so many different things. It could be encouragement. It could be financing. It could be you being available as the parent. So you are equipped. You have it within you to guide, to train, to steward your child into becoming who they are supposed to be. And it's your role, as I said, it's those.
Oh, it's not us.
So yes, your child, for example, saying, I want to do this, and they may end up majoring in art. That's it. Let them walk their path. At the end, it's their
I'm
destiny.
just supposed to steward.
Yeah, you're supposed to support them. At some point, you know, they'll actually be on their own. And if your child is actually able to come to a place where they're able to navigate life on their own, as a parent, I think you've done your job so well.
I like the statement you just said, that I am equipped. I can do this.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we must have it, like, you know, as like a quote or something, and put your name right there. Like,
What's the name of your book?
The book is called Forgiveness and Healing: Your Personal Journey to Wholeness and Freedom. If it was out, I would have actually brought it today in the show.
It's not out yet.
It's going to be out in 10 days' time.
Oh, in 10 days.
But you said you have it, right?
No. What I was reading was from her page. So her page is called Wholeness with Naume, and she does mention little snippets from the book about, you know, forgiveness and all. Since we're now on the book, 10 days to launching this book. When you were writing it, how many different locations did it take to bring that book together? Did you write it in one place?
Okay.
Or was it at different intervals? Were you on a couch crying somewhere? Were you at work? Were you driving and then you think of something and then you record yourself? What was the process of writing the book?
Let me start from how it started. So as I indicated that I used to be teaching in different places. So I had most of the content already, because this is something that already I was doing. So it could be sharing, either even on social media or things like that. I had built enough content, but I didn't realize that is what I actually was doing. So this other day, you know, sometimes with these late nights where we're just discussing our days with my husband, and, you know, we're on our pillows, we're on the bed, and we're talking, how was your day? And we're discussing, you know, just talking. So I'm like, but you actually know that I can put together the content that I have to write a book. I'm impressed in my heart to write about forgiveness and healing, and I'll share why that subject as well in particular. And he's like, oh, okay. And he said, where would you start? And I was like, I've actually developed enough content for it. So it started off as a decision, I'm going to do this. The moment I was now in that space, so what happens to me as I write, it could be something can just come in my mind. Sometimes, you know, I actually stop, I drive out of the road, and I write it down. When I feel this is actually it, you know, I always follow sometimes the leadings of God. You know them, you know the voice when it comes. I would sleep mostly at even 1 a.m. I wanted to make the book in a way that everyone can relate with it. I didn't want to write forgiveness like a theoretical book. I wanted to put stories of people that you can relate with and what that journey looks like. A lot is said about forgiveness, Becky. You know, we hear about that word in so many places, in the community, church, even here, you know about it. But when you now hear the number of people that say, and it shows that there's a gap somewhere. So it was coming from that place. How can we bridge this gap? People need tools to be able to know how to navigate that path. Forgiveness is a choice, it's a decision, and sometimes there's a process to it. So it was now explaining how you actually get to walk through that process of forgiveness from past pain and on a day-to-day, and what it looks like. There are different stories within the book. There's one for child sexual abuse. How it happened, I would actually get to sit and walk through that part. I was in the journey of that particular person. This is how they felt. This is what happened to them. This is the one for child sexual abuse. I also had to take the book to someone who had undergone child sexual abuse for them to also just say, it's okay.
Yeah.
So that was for that story. The other stories I had to walk through in them.
So according to what you have written and put together in the book, are you saying
yes, that's actually correct. Hapana, forgiveness is actually a commandment. You know, forgive one another as you have been forgiven. And my teachings, they are Bible-based teachings, so I always refer to the Word of God. And one cannot forgive outside of God. That one you can't actually. You have to actually, work with God on that particular issue, because it's hard. Within our human nature, it's not easy. It's hard to let go of pain. Someone could have come and killed your spouse, and it's them, or maybe they actually were convicted of that. How do you let go of that? How do you let go of that pain? It's so much, what could have happened to you. Pain is real. It's painful, it's not words, but how do you actually get to process it and be able to let go? For some people, they've already forgiven in advance. One can say, but it's also now going through the emotions, like you were hurt, you have forgiven, it's a decision, right? And now the process, letting go of that pain. So the book covers for everyone. And I did the book in a way, like one of the things that I did realize was that not many people have access to counseling services, and it's a barrier for people to get mental health services. I put the book in a way of like a tool. You're in your home, and you're going through the processes of that book. You're able to walk yourself in that journey.
So it's like a counseling session in my hand.
You actually, with your book, your pen, and that book with you, I put it in a way that you can actually walk yourself up to the point of healing. So it's a tool.
I can't wait for the book. So you said 10 days? Man.
10 to 14 days. I'm waiting for it. I'm excited.
So is it digital? Is it in print, like hard copy?
It's a hard copy.
Pages
I want you to feel,
flip.
I want you to highlight, I want you to write notes in it. It's a book. It's a proper book.
Right.
Yes.
The writing culture in Zimbabwe, comparing it with our neighboring country in South Africa, totally different. Recently, Mpumile Dwaba released a book, How Did We Get Here, and everything, and she was capturing the whole journey, how she wrote the book to the launch. And then with Amanda Dambuza, they did some vastly sage ladies getaway, whatever, and then she gave the women some of these books, and very much celebrated. So many female authors in Zimbabwe, and their work has not been celebrated as much as I think it should, because you have taken time to write this book. You have given it your all. You've got, guys, this is going to help you. But people will be like, yeah, well done, Naomi. Yeah. The writing culture, how do you feel about it?
You're very right in your comment. I look at even the journey. Like now I'm engaging shops that sell books. Sometimes the responses that you get, you're like, okay. One would actually tell you, I don't have space in my shop, and they don't have space in their shop.
For a book,
local authors, it's neither, so these are also part of the challenges that have been.
Is it because they don't trust local authors, or what?
I'm still here to investigate. I'm actually still here to investigate. There are some that would actually open their doors for you to say, no, please, and you can always work out on all the other arrangements that are there. But even just taking that work, it's done, and it's good work, saying, this is my work, having someone just to take it in. And you also want that credibility of even sometimes bookshops as well, And because you've also put in that, you've put in all the work, you've engaged editors, all the professional services that can be there, you've engaged all them, and even your work is good. But sometimes that journey is not as easy, Becky. It's also a journey on its own. And I'm also seeing the challenges. I'm hopeful. So how I've also gone about it, you also work with people that also want to work with you, if I could also put it like that. And also just, I also have young ladies whom I also mentor. They'll also be part of, for example, the distribution of it as well.
Right.
So it's not easy. Easy it's not, but I think we need to open up a little bit more. If I go even to a neighboring country like SA, if you even visit the bookshop, actually, there's a sitting space. You can have coffee whilst you're reading your book in the bookshop,
I know,
So
right?
let's
create one, Naomi.
It's
Let's
diverse,
create one.
yeah.
I'm opening a bookshop. Yes, Gustav, I'm opening a
No,
bookshop.
I'm not shaking my head for you. I'm just embarrassed about these bookstores. French
I'm also hoping that also does improve, because that would also promote. There's so many local authors that are there, but one of the main issues that he cited is the distribution of the work.
I promise you, with the way I feel right now, it's like I want to open a bookshop. workshop for female authors only.
Thank you.
Just to push.
Sha, you
find another bookshop.
See, those are things.
No, because like man, your content is real. It's relatable. And I'm speaking from someone who's always perusing these pages. Some of the stuff looks really superficial. You can tell with social media. Vana, there's no drive. But with your stuff, it's real. And I want to just quickly, with the 3 minutes that we have left, 3 days ago you posted Sunday Marriage Matters, right? And you were saying, give each other freedom in marriage to be yourselves. Do not suffocate each other. Mesa, you are different. People with different ambitions and values. What drove you to put that post?
So my area of teaching focuses life skills. Marriage is not exempted from it. It's more like it's an all-rounder, I touch on different issues. And if we had enough time, I would have also spoken about the TV show that's there as well. That's, showcasing all of that. But marriage, many times, the words that you hear outside in the streets is, kana zvite yakaoma inonetsa. Inonetsa, yes, that's fine. But we can make it better by working on ourselves. My marriage is as good as I am, Becky, and I only have control over myself. I don't have control over my husband. The more I work on myself as a person, me, the more my marriage gets better. The more I learn how to be able to manage situations, or how to manage my emotions, so
personal, like check
at
yourself.
A personal level. And my husband also does the same. We come into the marriage setup whole, and we're able to blend together. There's an analog that was given by one of the main, he's a famous author, Miles Monroe. He said, take two omelets, an omelette egg. It has many mixtures, right? Regardless of how good that egg is. But if you put a rotten tomato in the egg, mixture, everything gets bad. So it's made up of two people who are working on themselves. And many times there's also this notion that, we have to be doing stuff together. I don't know where we get these things, but we have to also exist within our own individuality as people. I don't lose my identity as a person because I'm married. I have hopes, I have dreams, I have aspirations as a person. Those, they do not go away because I am married. But it's a place where we now work together towards that common goal. But each one also, working towards their path, working on their issues, and we come together as a whole. And that marriage, it's upachukira. That's the word. So it was just, a reminder that allow, I know as women, many times we want our husbands to be with us all the time. Allow him to go without checking, without, asking him, what's can go by. That's where he gets to network.
I'll ask.
That's where he gets to meet other men.
I'll ask. And I'll let him go, but I will ask. What time are you coming back?
And that's true. And any person is able to love you to the level they love themselves. If I practice self-care on myself, I'm fulfilled, I'm whole. I'm able to give that to my spouse. So, let's do that to make the marriage setup better, and all of us can thrive, and all of us can get to touch.
We are totally going to create like a whole marriage segment so that you can come back. Ladies and gentlemen, Naume Ndoro Kusotera was our She Diaries guest. You can follow her on Instagram, Wholeness with Naume. Naume spelled Naume. We've got 10 or 12 or 14 days, I don't know, till her book comes out. But right now it is 2 o'clock. Stand by for the news.